Bueno, pues nos hemos propuesto que esta sea una mañana, una tarde de cine. Por eso nos hemos venido a la presentación de Mulán, que ha presentado un avance de lo que va a ser esta película que estamos esperando con tantas ganas. Una película, un live action que adapta la película de animación y que, aunque va a ser más realista que la película de animación original, va a tener algunos guiños, y hay un guiño musical que ha deslizado la directora en el avance y que creo que ya sé de qué canción se trata. Vamos a ver lo que ha contado ella y la diseñadora de vestuario aquí en Scenikus.
Because she has always just like an amazing, high creative point of view. And I actually have to say that I really enjoy to love with female directors. I also love to there is a difference when you are a technician and suddenly you are in such a female creative crew, because we had also a female DOP that is very special. And Niki brought also on board a female first AD. And so she just gathered an amazing creative crew. And I knew that I will be in good hands, and that we all, like, her point of view was from the beginning she wanted to do something really, really epic. And then on top you work for a production like Disney, who gives you all the opportunities to really start, prep, 4 months of pre-prep just to get like my designs and my inspirations done, with a trip through China and to see all the museums and to speak to the people and to know the country, and then to have a huge workroom and just to have ideas, and you really get everything supported from the production that you can really realize your ideas. And that was just, I mean, amazing. It's such a gift for a costume designer, and there are very rarely paired projects like that. But fortunately Disney produces movies like that, where you can be really, as a costume designer, use all your fantasy that you have. And what was amazing, we did like, I had this huge workroom, and we were doing month and month, like hand stitching, for example, the emperor costume. It was really hand embroidered during 6 weeks with gold thread and things like that. It was just amazing. When can we do something like that? And Niki gave me the opportunity, and I appreciate that, of course, a lot. And then this part that, like, about the women director, it is just nice to have another point of view. There's another complicity when you work with more women in a crew. And I really enjoyed that, because I have to see that in Zookeeper's Wife, in our movie before, it was also quite, we were also a lot of women. But I did a lot of movies where my crew, where I really was the only HOD in a male crew. And so now I enjoy it, that somehow I get more opportunities to work with more women, and there's just a difference, and I enjoy that.
I think it's the first time historically a movie of this scale has been run exclusively by women. So on the floor, director, DOP and first AD, all the voices that you hear on the floor are all women, and it's no surprise to any of us that the movie came in on time and on budget, because we're so organised and communicative, and also, you know, I like to think kind of wildly creative and instinctive at the same time, and kind. It's important. A lot of movie sets are not kind, they tell me.
Hi. Well, thank you very much for being here and for sharing all this with us. It is amazing to hear from you. And I just can say wow, because I'm a very fan of the original movie, and this is absolutely stunning. I just can't wait to see the final one. And I just want to understand a little bit more the reasons why behind some decisions. And For example, I want to know if we are going to find humor in this movie, as in the original one we have a lot, and I know that you are, well, I suppose you are changing a little bit the tone of this film, and it's much more epic, much more realistic, more loyal maybe with the Chinese world. But I want to see if we are going to find this. This is my first question, sorry, I'm going to ask two. And the other one is with the soundtrack. We have very iconic music and songs in the original one. I know that you say that she's not going to sing, but maybe we are going to hear like inspired in the first one, or it's absolutely new, all the music. I think in the trailer we can spot a little bit one of the iconic songs, but now I think it's all new. So if you can explain a little bit how was the process and the decision.
Yeah, thank you. One of my little anxieties about what we showed you today was that the humour and the levity wasn't represented in these three scenes. I promise you, there is humour and there is lightness in this world, but that because of our commitment to realism, humour's found in Mulán's human relationships. Like, it's inherently funny that she is a woman in a man's world trying to hide. And one of the running jokes in the training camp portion of the movie is that she can't obviously clean herself. She can't take a shower, and she stinks. And like it's a kind of running gag through there that she's just smelling worse and worse. She's reeking, and I find that really quite amusing. As far as the songs go, yes, you're right. When you go to war, you tend not to burst into song. So we don't in this vision of Mulán's story. But the songs are amazing in that animation, and I love them, and if I could have got them, all of them in, I would have. We do use an iconic song in the most iconic moment in the film, and that was my way of, I hope, honouring the animation in the best way I know how, which is a truly intimate, emotional and epic moment of transformation in Mulán, and yeah, it's going to be great.
Tenías tú una pregunta, ¿no? Te pasan el micrófono por ahí.
Hello, regarding your whole filmography, I can think all the women are strong characters throughout all your movies. Is it casual?
Was it intentional?
Yes, because I think they are very good movies, and there are fighting women, such as Charlize Theron in North Country, perhaps. It's not the same story, but it links in some way.
Yeah, I think it's true, they all are, but you go and look at them, they're all really different. And one of the things that I sort of fight is the idea of, if you're going to have a female character, she's got to be strong. Like, we're not all strong all the time, and so if you look at those individual performances, you'll see different kinds of strength, and even Mulán's strength, which is so clear because you see her fight. It comes with such grace, you know. Jessica Chastain in The Zookeeper's Wife was very, very feminine. Her strength came through her softness, and little Keisha Castle Hughes in Whale Rider, she was a child, so she had no, her strength was in her spirit, you know, and her kind of deep acknowledgement of her own leadership despite all the terrible obstacles she was facing from the person that she loved the most. So I like to be able to express female characters for all the colours and shades of them.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Tenemos una pregunta por ahí.
Hi, it's Andrea from Condé Nast. I have a few questions for you. First of all, which was your method of approaching such a legendary figure as Mulán, sorry? And which is your actual vision of the legend after all your research, the movie, and then what means to be a warrior in the classical China era, and what can we learn from that idea, or, well, from that warrior value?
Okay, that's a lot of questions, and I can't even remember the first one. I mean, I hope what I showed you today expresses the vision that is, you know, both very, very intimate and very epic. So, in this movie, I think it's quite possible that you might cry, particularly at the end, and also that it will thrill you and make you laugh. I'm excited about the idea that she, as a character, is so inspirational for this time, that she as a character can give all of us confidence to go on a big journey. And sorry, I'm trying to remember the other questions.
Your method of approaching.
Oh, right. Well, Bina talked a little bit about it from a costume design point of view. For me, the method is the same, actually. If I'm making Whale Rider, which is quite similar to this, but much smaller, to surround myself with the best people, like people who are insanely good at their jobs, who can share my vision for a huge, beautiful movie, but can also bring their own brilliance to that. So, you know, when you work with people like Bina, like Mandy Walker, the DP, Grant Major, the production designer, I can tell them what I see, and then they bring back what they see, and it gets bigger and more beautiful. And so that's kind of the method, and I make it sound like it's so amazingly great as a working experience, because it actually was. Like, I'm not even lying. That's how it is, and it is very. You carry a great responsibility, obviously, to the classic animation, to the original ballad of Mulán, to the audience, mostly to the brand. And yet, even with the weight of all of that responsibility, the work was really joyous. And I think mostly because of Yifei, because we knew we had her.
Da tiempo para una más.
Hello, I would like to know, you have said that you were striving for realism with the movie and for realist war and battles and everything, but we can also find some part of the mythos in the montage that we have seen, like the phoenix, and there was a woman also turning into a bird. And I would like to know if it was challenging for you to strive for this realism and at the same time be able to put in some of the Chinese original mythos.
Yeah, it's a really good question. And you can see it's real in the way that an animation is not, right? It's 3D, it's in real landscapes. We did very little green screen on this movie, so when you see the movie, there are astonishing places that we went to shoot in China. When you're talking about realism at that beautiful scale. And you have a DP like Mandy Walker shooting, and you want to elevate everything. So it isn't like a realism like a gritty independent film. It's realism in the spirit of Lawrence of Arabia, right? And if I can be nerdy for 1 minute, we shot on Sparrow 65 lenses that were the original lenses from Lawrence of Arabia. So, yay. And then you, once you're in that sort of really heightened, elevated territory and everything's beautiful, actually to bring a slightly supernatural element in, that's actually the wrong word. This version of Mulán leans heavily into the idea of qi. You understand? Qi in the Chinese sense, qi is something we're all born with. It's a personal power, and the rarest few can take that power and train it and grow themselves. So in our movie, when we meet little Mulán as a child, it's so clear in her that this qi is very powerful, it's very strong. But she's told by her family, who really fear for her, that qi is for warriors, it's not for daughters. And ask her to hide it and to bring honour to her family in a more appropriate way, by getting married, for instance. And so this strong spirit you can see expressed in Mulán's actions. You can see it in a character played by Gong Li, whose qi is so strong it's beyond imagining, and she has been exiled because she has no home. And so her journey and Mulán's journey run in parallel. And the phoenix is representative really of the ancestors and of Mulán's relationship with her father. The phoenix gives her spiritual protection, but never intervenes, never. Mulán's journey is on her own. She earns everything, every fight is hers, every decision is hers. So she feels the protection of the ancestors and very much the love and spirit of her father, but it is her journey.
Bueno, pues me pilláis muy bien rodeado. Tenemos una olla por un lado, a Mulán por otro lado, porque se acaba de presentar, como podéis ver, ese avance de Mulán aquí en la Academia de Cine, que es tan importante. Está Mulán en la película, no está Musu, pero hay un ser mitológico muy especial del que nos han dado una pincelada en esa charla con los periodistas, y desde luego que va a ser una película muy épica, por lo que hemos visto en el avance, y que va a haber un homenaje muy claro a uno de los temas más icónicos de la película de animación original de Disney. Si os ha gustado este reportaje de cine, que esperamos que haya mucho más de cine, nos vemos en el próximo reportaje de Scenikus.